Dokkaners? Welcome back to Tsunrami for another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. We're doing a free-to-play, no-item run on Super Battle Road with the best free-to-play category in all of Dokkan. Better than Ginyu Force, better than Team Bardock, better than Realm of Gods, better than Movie Heroes. I'm trying to think, what are the ones that actually compete with this? Universe Survival Saga, I guess, with their TURs from the 6th year. No, honestly, there's nothing. This category is the best. You've got the most powerful leader skill. You've got multiple units that can serve as the lead. You've got a bunch of units that provide stuns, seals, and support. And there are a myriad of teams that you can actually put together that could essentially accomplish the same thing that we saw here. Now, I'm sure the number one argument against this could be that, oh, you brought the Vegito. But to be quite honest with you guys, you're going to see in this video that even if the Vegito wasn't there, this would have been a piece of cake. And to be quite honest with you, I wanted to do this originally fully free-to-play, including the friend unit. Now, to be fair, this is still a free-to-play run. A lot of people like to argue against that, but when you're playing this game, the friend unit can be anything because it has zero impact on your summoning abilities. It is entirely dependent on what other people in the Dokkan community can do. They're probably going to summon, they're probably going to pay, which means it's fair game. And as you guys know, I always say this, I follow the JFanta School of Free-to-Play. No summonables except for World Tournament, and that's it. So these guys all follow that same criteria, and we did this with no items. And I gotta say, this has gotta be one of the easiest, least stressful runs I've ever done for anything regarding free-to-play no item. The most stressful free-to-play no item thing I've ever done was a Legendary Goku event. That was so painful, so stressful. In fact, first time I tried it on stream, I think I rage quit. It was very stressful. But this one, you can say it's a byproduct of the category just being so strong and there being just a massive, robust library of free-to-play units, but I had the greatest time assembling the team, and then I had an even greater time actually applying the team. And I thought going in, the number one thing was going to be getting the Babidi Boo and the Dabura Babidi together. But what ended up happening was those guys were amazing third spot units. They ended up being mainly on the flex spot where they were coming in and out and not really doing much of the regular action. They were supplementing what the rest of my units were doing. Every single unit on this team, with the exception of the friend unit, which doesn't count, did something. They lowered attack, they stunned, they sealed. And that's what made Dabura and Boo, both of those LRs, so much more powerful. This kind of feeds into what I talked about on my previous video where I was doing a showcase for just the Babidi Boo. But everybody here is able to do more than just serve their own purpose. Just because they stun doesn't mean it ends there. And that's what makes these two free-to-play LRs so amazing. Because just because they're stunned doesn't mean you're just going to do a flat amount of damage. You actually do more. And I feel like that should be a new meta or a new archetype that they explore a little bit more, at the very least for free-to-play. Because free-to-play can never outmuscle the pay-to-play side. There's just no way. So the only way to kind of narrow that gap or provide some sort of parity between the free-to-play and the pay-to-play scene is to make them more technical fighters, like I mentioned. If they're able to do more things when the enemy has some sort of a status effect, I feel like that is a good way to enhance the free-to-play side. It's not going to take away from the pay-to-play side at all, because people are still going to want to summon on the bigger, flashier units. But when the free-to-play side is actually able to do some stuff and hold their own, I think that would be better for the game. And doing this fight, this literally was my first try with this team. It's not my first try overall, because if it was, I would have made that in the title. But the reason why it wasn't a first try overall was I actually initially tried to beat this with double Babidi Boos. But what ended up happening was I got extremely unlucky, and my Candy Vegito got hit with 2 supers in a row, and he didn't dodge either one of them. And the best part of all of this is that regardless of who I had used, if it was the Babidi Boo or this Vegito, look at the amount of health I have. 445 or 450,000 health. I think that's the highest that a free-to-play team has ever gone in the entire game. I think. I'm pretty sure. Because that just speaks to, again, the amazing leader skill and the amount of powerful units that you can throw on this team. It makes for it's basically like a summonable team. Because like normally when you get hit with a 300,000 damage super, on a free-to-play team, you typically assume that it's over. And for me, when I got hit with that on my previous run, I thought the video was over. I even stopped recording, which is even worse. Because It wasn't over. He took 300,000 damage, but it wasn't over. He still had 150k left. That's crazy. So this team has the ability to go the distance on Super Battle Road. Absolutely no problem. And if I can do it, you can do it. And I strongly suggest you try it, because this is now the best free-to-play team in all of Dokkan. And I can see myself running a lot more stuff with this team in the future. And I gotta start working on their links. Those guys have some pretty decent links, and I want to get those going. And what sucks is that I wanted to bring more units. I found myself spending a lot more time on the team building aspect than I had planned for. I wanted to bring the Super Saiyan 3 Int Goku. He pairs up well with the Herculean Buu because of his whole Link super attack mechanic and the ability to cause immense damage. And he also, of course, provides an extra attack boost, which would have been nice. I also wanted to bring the Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyaman. I'm trying to think what else. I'm trying to look it up right now. Majin Buu Saga for the free-to-play side. There's just so many units. It's hard to pinpoint off the top of my head what other ones there were that I wanted to bring, but I'm going to look it up right now. Like, yeah, so I wanted to bring the Mr. Buu. Mr. Buu was actually a unit that I had spent a lot of time trying to decide if I wanted to bring him or not, because he would link well with the Babidi Buu. He also heals, and he raises his defense. So I felt like he would have been a great technical unit as well. He essentially accomplishes the same thing as the Herculean Buu, except his defense boost is temporary. It's not a permanent stack. But he would have linked up well with the Babidi Buu, which would have allowed him to probably be a mainstay on the regular rotations. But I found out during this that I didn't need to. They can swoop in every other turn and do immense damage or crazy damage after everybody else sets them up. This Vegito, Candy Vegito, dodged everything, stunned everybody, left them as markers, set them up as primers. High School Gohan tanked. On the occasional attack that we had to absorb, he would tank it no problem, then he would stun. Herculean Buu, they were able to nerf while at the same time greatly raising their defense, which allowed for whenever these enemies were sealed, they would attack the Herculean Buu and not do a lot of damage. Same with the LR version, he raised his attack, occasionally stunned, but he also lowered the attack. So even if his stun hadn't come through, he had already still marked his opponents by his passive, lowering their attack and defense by 20% for a few turns. And then at any time Babidi and Dabura would come in, or the Babidi Buu would come in, they would do extra damage. And it was so nice to see that, because I was initially worried about bringing these guys on the team. As I mentioned in my previous video, and Truth has also mentioned this a few times, Dokkan is sorely missing an extreme variant of the Majin Buu Saga leader. We don't have one, except for these free-to-play units, and there's just not enough to justify bringing them. What sucks about these two units is that because they're joined forces, I mentioned this again on my previous video, it severely limits the team building aspect because not as many categories are present. You can't be in the Majin Power when one of the several units on that joined forces unit doesn't fit in the category. That's just how it is. So Babidi essentially ruined that, as did Babidi on the new Prime Battle. So you couldn't run Babidi Dabura with a decent Majin Power team. There just aren't enough. But this team made it work because they weren't the focal point of the team. They were actually the tertiary units. They were the least, I wouldn't say least important, that's actually not true. They were just the heavy hitters that were brought in on the 9th inning, you know? Or they were brought in at the 4th quarter. That's my sports analogy for the day. But that was basically how I applied these guys, and it worked out flawlessly. Having the two Vegetos on one rotation provided an awesome combination of damage and dodge, as well as some stunning. And then the other rotation was just all technical stuff. Gohan would tank and stun. Hercule would tank also, stun. If not stun, he would nerf. And that would leave the LRs to do whatever damage they could at the end. We did have to have some reliance on the LR summonable unit to do some of the damage. But like I said, we would have still won regardless. It was just a matter of time. So if anything, this video went by a lot faster because we brought the summonable Vegito. But he never transformed. There was never a need to. We never got to a point where his health was so low that he'd have to, because this team is just so complete. And it shows. As you've seen now, it's been 2 full runs. We've never been in the... I mean, I think actually we might have been in the red once. But there was never a situation where I had to stop and think what I was going to do. It was just very clear from the get-go what was going to happen. And on this final fight, honestly, we could skip this because this was so easy. This was so easy. All it takes is one mark, and then you can just stun lock him the rest of the way, or you can seal him thanks to the Buu or the Dabura, and that was that. That's all it was. So I might as well just fast forward through this last part just because it's very repetitive, but Yeah, so if we brought the LR Babidi Boo, it would have just taken a little bit longer to do the same thing. Both had the same potential, not the same. Both had the same leader skill, except that Boo provides 1 extra key. But obviously he doesn't provide nearly as much damage as this guy. So yeah, I'm gonna fast forward this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I strongly suggest you guys try this. We still have a lot of empty days ahead of us on the global side of Dokkan. And in that time, I suggest you guys try some of these free-to-play teams. I want to try this on the Infinite Dragon Ball history. I want to try this on Legendary Goku event. We probably won't win a Legendary Goku event, but I want to see how far this team can go, and I think you guys should try it. It's pretty fun. No items with free-to-play is now a norm. That's how far free-to-play has come. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below and let me know in the comments your thoughts on the category. Do you agree with me? It's the best category that's free-to-play in Dokkan, or do you disagree? What other category free-to-play is better than this one? I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future, and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it! Thanks again. Stay tuned, and always remember to free to play responsibly.